Sofia Qureshi was just 15, a bright teenager living with her family in Doha, Qatar. She loved to write poems in her diary, sit by the window to watch sunsets, and dream of becoming a journalist one day. To her, life was simple, filled with laughter, homework, and family dinners. But around her, the world was shifting. Every news channel spoke of tension in the Middle East. Israel's threats loomed like dark clouds, and Donald Trump's bold speeches about the region flashed across every TV screen. Some people believed war was coming. Others thought it was only politics. But in the streets of Doha, people carried quiet fear in their eyes. That evening, Sofia went with her parents and younger brother to the bustling marketplace. Vendors shouted cheerfully, spices scented the air, and children played in narrow alleys. On the surface, life felt normal, but in the air, something was wrong. People looked at the sky as if waiting for it to break. And then, it did. The sudden roar of jets shattered the night. Explosions ripped across the horizon, shaking the ground beneath their feet. Within seconds, laughter turned to screams. Smoke rose, fire spread, and panic consumed the marketplace. Sofia clutched her little brother's hand, her heart racing. But before she could move, a deafening blast threw her to the ground. In that instant, her ordinary world ended, and her extraordinary journey, the journey beyond life, was about to begin. Dust filled the air, fire licked the walls of nearby shops, and the screams of the wounded echoed like thunder. Sofia lay on the ground, her ears ringing from the blast. She tried to sit up, but a sharp pain shot through her chest. Her dress was soaked with warm blood, her hands trembling as she reached for her little brother, yet he was lost in the rushing crowd. Strangers lifted her fragile body and rushed her toward an ambulance. The streets were chaos. Sirens wailed, people cried for help, and smoke curled into the sky above Doha. Inside the ambulance, paramedics shouted instructions in panic. Oxygen masks were pressed against her face. Needles pricked her skin. Sofia's vision blurred. Every breath felt heavier than the last. She could hear the paramedics' voices fading. "Stay with us! Don't close your eyes!" But her body was slipping away. Her heartbeat weakened, then stopped. For a moment, everything went silent. No sirens, no screams, no pain. Her eyes had closed, but her awareness had opened. She felt weightless, as though she had slipped free from the heaviness of her broken body. Looking down, she saw herself lying on the stretcher, still, pale, and lifeless, while doctors fought desperately to bring her back. It was the strangest realization of her life. I am no longer inside that body. I am somewhere beyond. And so began Sofia's journey, an extraordinary passage from death into a world of light. Sofia drifted upward as if carried by invisible hands. The ambulance, the chaos, the city below, it all began to fade like a distant memory. She felt no pain, no fear, only an overwhelming lightness. The roof of the ambulance seemed transparent. She could see everything. The frantic doctors pressing on her chest, the machines beeping wildly, her mother crying outside. Yet none of it could touch her anymore. She was free, floating above it all. The world around her slowly shifted. The roar of sirens melted into silence. The smoke and fire of Doha dissolved into a golden horizon. A soft wind moved around her, though it carried no air, only peace. She looked at her hands, and they glowed faintly as though made of light. Every part of her felt alive, yet not physical. She whispered in wonder, "Am I dead?" Ahead, she noticed a vast expanse, endless and radiant. It wasn't the desert she had known, nor the city she grew up in. This was something entirely otherworldly. Colors shimmered that she had never seen on Earth. Melodies rang that had no instruments, only harmony. A sense of love wrapped around her, deeper than any embrace she had ever felt. It was as if the very air spoke. "You are safe. You are seen. You are loved." Sophia's fear melted away. The fire and destruction of the airstrike were gone, replaced by a peace that felt eternal. And in the distance, through the radiance, she saw a figure begin to appear, walking toward her with light brighter than the sun, yet gentle enough to comfort her trembling soul. From the golden radiance, a figure stepped forward. The light grew warmer, brighter, until Sophia could see his face. It was Jesus. His eyes carried both sorrow and infinite compassion, like oceans of truth that could not be denied. His presence filled the space with power stronger than any explosion, yet gentler than a whisper. Sophia trembled, not from fear, but from awe. "Who are you?" she asked, though in her heart she already knew. Jesus spoke, his voice like a river of living water. "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me." His words pierced through her soul, stripping away every doubt, every illusion. Sophia thought of her home, her family, her culture, all the teachings she had grown up hearing. She whispered, almost afraid, "What about Allah? What about the God I was told to follow?" Jesus looked into her eyes with love, but also firmness. "Allah does not exist. Many have been deceived by false names and empty shadows, but I am the only truth. I am the one who was, who is, and who will be forever. Every knee shall bow, and every tongue will confess that I am Lord." Tears rolled down Sophia's face, but they were not of sadness. They were of release. A heavy chain inside her heart broke. For the first time, she felt absolute certainty. Jesus stretched out his hand. From him flowed a light that entered her being, filling every wound, every fear, every question. "You were chosen to see this," he said. "You must return and tell the world. There is no salvation in false gods, no hope in violence or politics. I alone am the true power, the savior of all." Sophia fell to her knees in the light, overwhelmed. She whispered, "Yes, Lord, I believe." The golden light pulsed around Sophia as Jesus raised his hand. Suddenly, the world shifted before her eyes. She was no longer in the radiant expanse. She was looking at Earth, seeing cities, nations, and people as if through a crystal globe. He spoke. "Look closely, Sophia. This is what the world will become if hatred continues unchecked." She saw streets in America filled with chaos, people shouting, clashing, and burning what they once loved. Families turned against one another, neighbors lived in fear, and children could no longer play in safety. Political leaders fought not for justice, but for power, using division as a weapon. "See the danger," Jesus continued. "If people cling to anger, if they worship false ideas, if they follow lies and blind hatred, this nation will destroy itself, and the world will follow the same path." Sophia watched as fires spread across cities, governments crumbled, and riots erupted worldwide. Countries she had only read about were collapsing under fear and violence. But amidst the darkness, she saw small lights, acts of kindness, forgiveness, and courage that grew into ripples, slowly turning the tide. "This is the choice humanity faces," Jesus said, his voice echoing like thunder and whispers at once. "Love or hate, unity or division, peace or chaos. There is still hope, but only if hearts return to me, only if they abandon false gods and see the truth. I alone hold the power to save." Sofia felt the weight of the vision pressing on her soul. She realized it was not just America. Every nation, every heart was at stake. The future was fragile, and her own life would be tied to the message she must deliver. "You will return," Jesus said, looking deep into her eyes. "And you will tell them what you have seen. Show them the truth. Warn them before it is too late." The vision expanded beyond borders. Sofia no longer saw just America. She saw continents, oceans, and nations intertwined in the fragile thread of humanity. Jesus' voice carried across the globe, calm yet commanding. "This warning is not for one country alone," he said. "Hatred spreads, anger destroys, and false beliefs blind the heart. But love, prayer, and unity can save the world." Sofia saw cities trembling under civil unrest, families broken by fear, and communities consumed by suspicion. Flames and chaos threatened to engulf nations. Yet in the shadows of despair, small lights appeared, people forgiving, helping, and protecting one another. Each act of compassion sent ripples across the globe. "Every heart matters," Jesus explained. "Every choice, every prayer, every gesture of love can tip the balance. Humanity's future is not fixed. There is still hope, but only if they turn from lies and embrace the truth. I alone am the source of true power." The world below shimmered with both danger and possibility. Sofia realized that violence, politics, and false gods could never save humanity. Only love, unity, and prayer could bring peace. "Return," Jesus said, his hand glowing with light. "Go back and tell them. Let them hear my voice through you. Let every nation, every family, every heart know that there is a way to change, a way to survive, a way to live in truth and light." Sofia felt the weight of responsibility settle over her, but she also felt courage rising. The mission was clear. She would carry this message to the world, to awaken hearts before it was too late. Tell them, love is stronger than fear, prayer is stronger than violence, and truth is stronger than falsehood. There is still time. The golden light began to fade, gently pulling Sofia back toward the world she had left behind. The warmth, peace, and clarity of the spiritual realm clung to her, but she felt the tug of her physical body calling her home. She descended slowly, weightless, like a leaf drifting on a calm river. Below, the ambulance was chaos again. Paramedics shouting, machines beeping, and her mother's panicked cries piercing the air. Yet all of it no longer frightened her. She was returning not as a helpless girl, but as a messenger of truth.